All right, I'll be quiet, Jack.
Sounds good. Alrighty, guys. Welcome into the After Schrock. Give everybody a couple seconds here to get connected while I do my Mr. Rogers and put my headphones away. Won't you be my neighbor? I don't know if you guys watched that Mr. Rogers documentary that came out. There's a documentary and then there was the movie with Tom Hanks. If you're looking for just a feel-good movie, that's a movie. I mean, that you felt so good coming out of that movie. That was a good one. That was a real good one. All right, so we are live on webcam audio right now. So let me know how it sounds. I'm curious to know if the audio issue earlier was a Facebook audio issue or something in the wiring somewhere here. But the radio audio was fine. Bear with me just a second. I'm going to kill this speaker up here because it's in my ear and distracting me. Just a second.
Also, you can stream us for iHeartRadio, for not only 1110K.
All right, there we go. Sorry about that. I'm back. All righty. All right. So first off, I'm going to launch on with any questions. If anybody has a question from the radio show that they were not able to ask already, please go ahead and ask it now. And then as we go through the AfterSchrock, I'll go through the feed and then grab the questions and answer them. And then what do you guys want to talk about? I mean, we've got, obviously, a lot of my time is being soaked up on Des Moines right now, but I have to tell you, it's a tough adjustment for me working behind a desk. I like to be in the service centers. I like to see my customers. I like to have the thrill of being confronted with a problem and then solving the problem, and then while solving that problem, anticipating the next problem and solving that one too, so that you never experience it. It just feels so good. And whenever I'm having a rough time, my wife looks at me and she goes, "You need to get back in the service center. You need to go help a customer or something." And maybe she just wants me out of the house. I don't know. I said, "Someday I'm going to retire." She goes, "You're not going to retire here, are you?" Like, oh, and I need an outbuilding out. I mean, a tinker building. She goes, "Yeah, it could be full of like wires and trash and stuff." Like I'm an electronics trash panda now. I'm like, whoa, okay, that's sad. But anyway, so I got back into the service centers a couple days this week, and oh, it was nice. Just making sure everything was working right, making sure that the people we've promoted are adjusting well to their new positions, correcting a couple small things, nothing major, just a couple small things that needed to be corrected. And then, now Monday, it's back to I have a breakfast meeting on Monday, so I look forward to that. The senior technician meeting. We get all of our senior technicians from all the locations, even Des Moines, together for a breakfast meeting the first Monday of the month at First Watch in Papillion. And we all sit down and we eat some delicious pancakes over there at Midlands Place. And literally we have an agenda. These are the things here's the upcoming month, here's how the previous month went, everything, so on and so forth. But the main objective is how are we going to improve as professionals ourselves? How are we going to develop our junior technicians that work under us so that they one day can become senior technicians so they can deliver the great service that we want them to? And then, what challenges have we faced in the last month? Is there tips, tricks? What did you guys come across? Anything that you were like, hey, if you just do this, that, and the other, you can make this big problem just go away? Or has anybody figured out the J-ing when you clone the solid state drive? Oh man, that thing. So sometimes when you take a really, really, really old computer, we're talking like 12 or 13 years old, and you clone it over to a solid state hard drive, we think it has something to do with taking it from an IDE. I'm sorry, I won't go into all the BIOS things. But anyway, and you put the new hard drive in the new computer, it just puts a letter J on the screen, and that's all it is. So we call it that one Jade. Like it's jaded. It's a Jade hard drive. So we have to do a reinstall of everything, and then everything works fine. But obviously, cloning is better than reinstalling. So we go over things, tips, tricks, stuff like that. So I've got that to look forward to on Monday. But then after that, it's another solid day of desk work, dealing with bankers and financing and refinancing, and we have to get. We've got our approval to be we're a foreign corporation operating in the state of Iowa. Just like the Russians. It's great. Yeah, this is the language. They use, a foreign corporation. I'm like, really? But so anyway, and that was one of the questions that the attorneys had for us. When you open Des Moines, do you want to create a separate company? And I'm like, why would I create a separate company? That doesn't. I have to do 2 tax returns then. I'd have to do 2 separate accountings, and then payroll would be different. And why would I introduce that level of complexity? They're like, well, if you get sued in one service center, it can't go beyond that service center. And I'm like, oh gosh, I never thought of that. So yeah, I mean, there's literally I'm really thankful to have professionals helping us out to clear these hurdles. I elected this time around we're just going to keep it the same company, but maybe the next place we have targeted for a expansion market is Kansas City. So maybe the next time that we open new service centers, we'll do this other thing. I don't know. It just seems it seems incredibly complex, but then again, the world's a crazy place right now. So yes, the Des Moines Service Center, we got some good hard dates today. The week of the 17th, we're going to be doing our pre-opening, our soft open. We will not have a sign above the bay until the 21st, until Friday. So the soft open, there will not be. There's a sign on the door, but there's not a big sign over the bay. So if you're planning on going to the soft opening, the address is 9500 University Avenue. You might want to just take a quick drive by just so you know where it's at. We're right next door to Wasabi. Which is pretty good food there over in Wasabi, and then there's a women's boutique next to us, and I'm spacing out on the name of it right now, and I can't remember it because obviously I examined the women's boutique very closely, but they seem like nice people that work there. One of them came out and took out trash while I was taking out trash, and we didn't say anything to each other, but we didn't spit at each other either. So they seem to be nice people. We had masks on, it was one of those things. Anyway, so Des Moines going very well. Internal construction is complete for the most part. Now we're talking about stocking it, getting all the parts and things like that there that need to be there so that we can open and function as a service center. Little things that you don't think of, like do we have an external DVD drive? We need it once in a blue moon, but when you need it, you need it. What about all the discs, all the software and installs? We have all the ISOs, but we have to burn them all onto discs so we have the discs ready to go. How about flash drives? Do we have any flash drives for this new location? All these stupid little things are starting to okay, we got to get this, we got to get that. Ironically, we bought, when we buy most of our inventory on a monthly basis. So when we bought inventory for the month of July, we looked at, this is how much we sold last July. And we want to be about 20% up over where we're at. So 20% over that would be this. I expect to do this much during the grand opening in Des Moines. And we're going to need time to build all the computers and everything. So I want to get the stuff early so we can build them, because we're typically a little slower in July. Things really pick up in August, but we're a little slower in July. So let's get all the parts so when we're slow, we can build computers. I have hours to give my guys then because there's something productive to do. We were so busy in our existing service centers in the month of July that not only did we sell through the entire allotment of parts that we purchased for operations among the 3 service centers, we sold through 75% of the parts we purchased for the grand opening for Des Moines. July was mind-blowingly busy from a new computer perspective. Not so much from a repair perspective. We talked in the show a little bit about how people's behaviors have changed. And one of the changes we're starting to see at Schrock in our numbers is we are seeing a shift away from repair tickets. People come in with repair tickets, but they leave with new computers. Or they call in with a ticket that would have been a repair ticket, and they leave with a new computer. So why are people not fixing their computers anymore? So this is something we're going to talk about during our monthly meeting on Monday. Why are people not fixing their computers like they used to? Why are they choosing to buy new ones instead? And does our selection of computers reflect what people are looking for? These are important questions to ask periodically. Well, my personal opinion on this is that people don't have time to have their computer fixed anymore. Think about it. How many computers did you have in your house before COVID? 1 for 2 people? Now, if you're in a working house or you're in a working house with kids, how many computers do you have in your house now? 1 per person minimum, right? What happens when your computer dies and you work from home? Or Maybe you're not completely working from home. Maybe you're transitioning back where you go into the office for things you have to go into the office for, but you're doing the rest from home. And your computer goes down. You don't have time for that. So we've seen stupid things, like customers doing really stupid things, like Drive Advisor tells you your hard drive is failing. Yet you acknowledge that we call you, yeah, I know it's failing, I'll bring it in next week. You realize that you can't use the computer right now, right? Oh, yeah, sure, whatever. And then we get an alert because it alerts us when the numbers change. So it went from 100% to 90%. That's a huge failure. Normally it goes to like 99%. To lose 10% in one shot is a massive failure. Well, then it drops to 70%. We call the guy back and we're like, you have to stop using the computer. You need to bring it in. We can do a contactless pickup. We can do a free pickup. You can bring it in. This will take less than 3 hours as long as we get it with the hard drive is in good enough shape. Oh yeah, I'll get it in as quick as I can. I'm busy right now. I can't get in. Okay, all right. Don't use the computer. I'll turn it off. Literally 3 hours later, it drops to 39% health. We're like, come on, dude. Did you try to do a backup? What are you doing? So we call him again. We're like, turn the computer off. And finally he does. You're at 39%. We can't guarantee we can clone your hard drive now. Now it's not going to be a couple hours in and out. Now it's going to be a full day thing, minimum. And if we have to reinstall everything and get all your codes and everything else and set everything up, it's going to be 2 days before you're back up to the productivity level you were at before the failure happened. If you would have just brought it in when it happened, it would have been a 2-hour event for you in your life. A 2-hour interruption. And if that was too long, you can pay an expedite fee, and we work on your computer exclusively until it's done, and then we don't split our attention or our time. We literally camp on your machine to get it done as quick as possible. We have services for this. Maybe I'm just not doing a good job explaining it. I don't know. So anyway, people doing silly things. My computer, you heard the woman during the show, her computer is artifacting. And she's asking me about upgrading to the new version of Windows 10. And I'm thinking, if your graphics card dies, you don't have a monitor. If your graphics card goes out on you, you can't use the computer. Why wouldn't you get that fixed? Sorry, I went to push the cough button, but I can't cough. It doesn't mute me when I push the button. It just, camera and all. So, anyway, people are doing silly things because I believe they don't have time, or they think they don't have time, to get their computer fixed, which is a really interesting thing for Des Moines. Because a lot of our competitors in Des Moines advertise 24-hour or less computer repair. And a couple of them really live up to it. And we have interviewed employees, current employees, and former employees that have worked at these places. We've hired some of them and not others. But the employees tell us that basically when you guarantee a 24-hour turnaround on a computer, if you can't fix the computer in 15 minutes, you have to do a backup wipe and install for the customer. That's literally the solution at that point, which is the most inconvenient thing you could possibly do for somebody who's in a rush to get their computer back. And because you're advertising super fast turnaround, you're getting a disproportionate amount of the business of people who need their computer back quickly. It's the worst possible idea. It goes to bad service. That's why this one gentleman wanted to leave. He said, we're just delivering bad service. One of them said, we're management heavy. We have like 4 employees and 5 managers. And the managers don't want to work. Like literally they're here to collect a paycheck and be a manager, and they take inventory. They walk around and take inventory, but they don't actually work. I don't know why my video is acting choppy on my end. I don't know if it's choppy on your end or not, but it's definitely choppy on my end here. Alright, so let's take a look through here. Back with you had coffee. Coffee is good. Alright. No problem, Carolyn. I'm glad to help. Always. Alright, I'm going to pull up a screen here real quick. I just want to make sure that my computer's not the source of this weird lagging. Could be the internet connection in here too. My processor's working at 100% right now, and that's an i7 processor pegged out at 100%. Google Chrome is doing most of it. I'm going to close a couple things down here just to give myself a little bit more memory, a little less processor speed here. There we go. So yeah, that ought to help a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, even I get stuff that pops up and says, "Oh, hey, your computer's at 100% processor." I just bought the lovely Kimberly a new laptop, and I just went through a huge tirade with her that I don't need a new laptop. Personally, I don't need one. I'm fine with what I've got. And then I get this kind of stuff happening. And mine's a 7th gen Core i7, so mine is about 3 years old almost. But I take care of it. I maintenance it, obviously. I use it pretty much exclusively for the radio shows, once in a while for doing something around the house. But yeah, so it even happens to me, guys. And obviously I've got Boku RAM and the best solid-state hard drive you can put in it. But Google Chrome is literally, absolutely crushing my processor right now. I've closed everything that I can close, and just the one tab I have open that's doing this radio show right now is crushing my processor. That's crazy. All right, so anyway, maybe it's because of the videos. There we go. Let's do that. All right, so good morning, After Schrock World. Good morning, Mark. Audio is better, Mitch says. Yes, that's because we're not using KFAB equipment. I came in this morning, guys, and the studio, it was wrecked. I was like, what happened in here? The main computer, I almost said the tech computer, the main computer that I used to look at the stories I'm talking about, Emily was like, it won't turn on, it's not on, I don't know what's wrong. I'm like, okay. So I come in and I look at the screen, and the monitor has power. Check the easy stuff first, right? It's in standby mode, okay. I look under the table, and the computer has no power. Okay, no power. I can troubleshoot this, right? First thing we try is push the power button. And, hey, I'm a savant, baby. It works. I turned it on. She's like, what did you do to fix it? I was like, I pushed the power button. I love you, Emily. So then I grabbed the microphone to swing it around, and I let go of it, and the microphone literally falls off the stand. And I'm like, what in the Sam Houston is that? And there's a screw under here. And it's a standard screw. So I'm sitting here I've got my little pocket knife that I carry with me, and I'm like, okay, and I'm screwing the screw back in with the edge of my pocket knife because I don't have a standard screwdriver in my pocket, okay? Now, the funny part is the microphone broke yesterday during the Mr. Mechanic show. And now, while I can probably be excused for not having a screwdriver in my pocket, you would think the Mr. Mechanic would have a screwdriver handy. Now, I'm just giving him a hard time. He's a good guy. But he's like, I don't know how to fix this. I'm like, it's a screw. So yeah, so anyway, get her done. Get her done attitude. Remember last week I said something about there's businesses that are going to hustle through this COVID thing, and then there's businesses who are just going to be the victim and whine and cry and fail. And we're going to be the business that hustles because we fix things. We fix things that we didn't break so that we can have a good show. And then the audio was crappy. And I'm like, was the audio crappy because the microphone fell off the stand this morning? Is the audio crappy because the computer wasn't turned on? Was the computer off because it was messing with the audio? These are the questions that we have in the studio. I don't know. Are some of my wires, did a wire get nicked or something? Are my plugs good? I've got all these adapters like this here. Is my adapter nice and clean with good contacts? All these things contribute to the show audio quality. So anyway, it's been a rough morning. It's been a little bit of a rough morning. All right, can you recommend the best Android email app? Mark, I use Outlook, honestly. It's free. It's Outlook for Android. The only thing that I don't like about it is something they've recently started doing, and I can't find any place in the settings to turn this off. But when I get an email that has a link in it, it's almost like they have built the Edge browser into the Outlook app. It opens the web page in the Outlook browser, basically, as opposed to my default browser, which is Firefox. And there's a button I can press to open instead in my browser, but there's no setting that I can set to say always open in my browser, and that's frustrating. So hopefully they'll fix that. But otherwise, I use that. Golly, Gmail always works fine. Depending, you can bring in any email account into Gmail, but then Google reads everything. Of course, most phones come with a default mail app. I was using Mail Droid before that, but I kind of walked away from that because I wanted the features that Outlook had, so I could integrate with my computer at home. Hey, After Schrock. Hey, Alan Smith. All right, smart wife. You have no idea, Tracy. My wife is crazy smart. She threw the most amazing birthday party for my son yesterday. He said he wanted a tiki party, right? And so, if he tells Dad I want a tiki party, I'm going to be like, I'll get a Hawaiian shirt, and we'll put up some tropical colored pineapple looking streamers. Maybe one of those pineapples, that they ship them flat, and then you expand them like this, and then it's a pineapple. We'll hang some of them from the ceiling, and it's tiki time, right? No, the lovely Kimberly builds a tiki bar, an actual bar, serves non-alcoholic tropical drinks made with real fruit juices freshly squeezed from the blender at the bar to the kids at the party, the 6 kids at the party. And we made bacon wrapped Smokies. I did the bacon wrapped Smokies. I was wrapping and sticking because we were behind schedule, and I can wrap a piece of bacon around a hot dog with the best of them and stick a toothpick through it. So put a little brown sugar on there, took a torch, kind of made sure the brown sugar stayed on there, caramelized a little bit, then baked it. But then we bake it, and you bake it until the smoke alarm goes off. That's when you know it's done. When you're all outside doing a party game, and Thor, who is deaf in one ear, suddenly, somehow, no one else hears this, I hear the smoke alarm going off inside the house. And I'm in the garage. That's probably why I heard it. I was in the garage. And because of where my truck is parked, I could not get into the house from the garage. So they're doing a relay race, right? They're running back and forth. Then I tear around the house, running at top speed, said, coming through, smoke alarm. And people are looking at me like, is he trying to play in the relay race? Like, what is he doing? Jacob's dad is so weird. And then I hurdled the fire pit, which Jacob says he saw me run around it, but there was no time for running around the fire pit. I hurdled the fire pit. Yeah, fire walker stuff right there. Ran up the stairs into the house because I knew the house wasn't on fire. It was just that my Smokies were done. That's why they call them Smokies, right? So I had to get my bacon wrapped little Smokies out of the oven. So I run into the house, and then behind me, everybody else comes into the house to see what's going on. And afterward that night, the lovely Kimberly looks at me, she goes, do you think that it's weird that we might all be stupid? And I'm like, what do you mean? She said, well, the fire alarm was going off, and we all ran into the house. And then we were like, well, yeah, the baby was asleep upstairs, so yeah, we would have had to run into the house anyway. We were justifying it, Like, I didn't run into the house for the Smokies. No, I had to rescue the sleeping baby. That's what it was, for sure. And then my son chimes in, yeah, and my Xbox. Priorities, right? Oh boy. So it was a great birthday. We had a tiki bar, great food, pool party, relay games. Kids had a blast. So lovely Kimberly with another birthday win. You should post some pictures of that somewhere, Kim. Sorry, her family's been on her to post pictures for like days. Well, day. It was yesterday. The party was still going on, and they were like, why don't you have any pictures yet? All right, do you have dedicated parking stalls in Des Moines so restaurant employees do not hog them like at your former Lincoln location? That's a great point, Mark. In our old Lincoln location, one of the reasons that we moved is we were right next door to a Red Robin, and on the other side of us there was a Teriyaki Madness. And the employees for the 2 restaurants, they wouldn't want to park in the stalls where their customers can park, so they'd park in the next closest stalls, which were the stalls where our customer would park, or our customers park. On top of that, in our old location, we did have some stairs. There was like 3 or 4 stairs to go up to get into the front door. It just is not ideal. We have some, after we learned from that location, because that was 11, 12 years ago we established that location. So we learned we can't do stairs. We have to have front door parking. One of the things that virtually no landlords will do, they will not dedicate a parking spot to your business, because if they do it for one business, they have to do it for all of the businesses. And if they do it for all of the businesses, the insurance company doesn't need as many parking spots as the chiropractor, as the brewery, And so basically what ends up happening is, when we close down for the night, the brewery is hopping. So why do we need a dedicated parking spot for Schrock Innovations in the middle of the night? It doesn't make sense. Would the brewery be able to use that spot better for their customers? So we do have an abundance of front door parking. In fact, when I've been working in the service center every Wednesday in Des Moines, I have been able to park my truck. I arrived during the lunch hour. We're right next door to Wasabi. We arrived during the lunch hour, and I can park in front of my front door, which of course I don't do when we're open because I leave the spot open for customers. But I can park in front of the front door. Because the parking is ample in the lot. It's a really nice lot. So, Mark, the parking situation is going to be good to go over there in Des Moines. It's awesome. All righty. Yeah, Carolyn, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not trying to brag because I am very acutely aware that there are businesses out there that are not doing well. And in some cases, those owners have all the hustle in the world. It's just when the government comes along and shuts down your business for whatever reason, like what's happening to bars in New York and New Jersey, what do you do? What can you do? There's no amount of hustle that can fix that when you're prohibited from operating, and the bills still come due. I say that, and I'm not trying to insinuate that we're doing well because we're super special or because we have more hustle than the next guy. The reason that we're doing really well is because we happened in the very beginning of this, in January, I was worried about the supply lines being interrupted. We were right. The supply lines are a mess right now. I was trying to buy rum extract yesterday for these non-alcoholic drinks for the kids. Went to 2 different stores. You can't buy rum extract anywhere. Church time. Yes. There we go. All right. Feeling invigorated. The pipe organ gets me every time. We got the. I was trying to find rum extract, can't find it anywhere, and it just struck me how decimated the spices aisle is, and it made me wonder. Do we farm spices? I mean, you think of the old days, like we get the spices from India, and things like that. Do we farm spices domestically, or do we import them? Because I'm telling you, go to Target and go to the baking aisle and look at the spices. They're gone. Like there's like. Each spice, they're in stock, but each one is like 2 spice containers deep. There's no depth there. It's like a lot of the things. If you look down the cake baking aisle and stuff, everybody's eating at home. This is one of the changes, right? Even though restaurants are open, people are still consuming more food at home than they did before. And one of the things people are drinking is pop at home. That's why there's an aluminum can shortage right now, because so many people are drinking pop at home and not at a restaurant or out in public, that they can't make the cans fast enough. It's not that there's a shortage of aluminum, there's a shortage of manufacturing power. So way back in the beginning in January, we took out a big old SBA loan and bought like a way more hardware than we could use in, we thought, a year. We bought a year's worth of hardware in one shot so we could make sure, because if we can't get parts, if we can't get hard drives, if we can't get memory sticks, if we can't get laptops, if we can't get motherboards, we can't do business. We can't fix anything, and we can't build anything. So we need these parts, right? So we buy what we think are a year's worth of parts. And then COVID hits like a sledgehammer in March, and everybody's suddenly working from home. Nobody has computers at home that are worth a damn because everybody's ignored their computers for years. Or worse yet, put them in the basement or not maintenance them. And then when they push them, they fail. So, okay, we got all this going on. People are buying new computers. We sold more new computers that month because Best Buy was closed, the Mart was closed, office supply stores were all closed. Where do you go to buy a computer? We were the only place open that had computers in stock that you could walk in the door and buy and leave with. And we sold so many computers it wasn't even funny. Unfortunately, we don't make a ton of money when we sell computers. We make a lot of money. Our profit margins are built on the service side of things. And so when we can't sell services like in-home setups or data transfers from your old computer, things like that, there's no profitability in computers for us. Very little anyway. But, we weren't going to look a gift horse in the mouth. These are opportunities for us to gain new customers and build new relationships. We're going to do that. We did not hike our prices even though everybody else did. Even though availability was through the floor, we kept doing what we did, and we did it the same way we always did. Of course, with masks and other precautions, and a lot of hand sanitizer and things like that. A lot of Lysol. I bought 4 cases of Lysol in January, anticipating that, that should last us a year. We're out. It did not last a year at all. So anyway, the long and the short of it is we were prepped for it, and that's one of the reasons why we're in good shape now. We were prepped for a supply chain interruption, and then we got hit with all the closures, and we were the last man standing that had equipment. And that's why we're doing so well. So I want to say there's a lot of planning and a fair bit of luck. But again, it's about hustling, right? It's about trying to see the next thing that's coming. I don't think that the country is going to shut down again. Not unless we see like epic death. And when I say epic death, I'm not trying to minimalize any death that happens. But when I say epic death, if 1 million people drop dead tomorrow, I think the place would shut down again. 1 million people are not going to drop dead tomorrow. So I don't think we're going to shut down again like we did before, but I think there's going to be enough anxiety and enough COVID, that people are going to maintain their work from home behaviors. So now as a business owner, the challenge is how do we adapt to people's new behaviors? So we offer things like contactless pickup and drop off. It's not that much different than a regular free pickup and drop off that we've always offered, except we just stay in our car until you're back in your house. We don't ring your doorbell and shake your hand and tell you thank you to your face. We tell you over the phone while we call you that we're in the driveway and you can bring it outside. And some people, are super concerned, and there are some people who are like anti-concerned. You know what? Our job is to fix your tech. We can be friends. We can have a great relationship. We can laugh together. We don't have to be enemies because you feel one way and you think people should do one thing and somebody else feels another way. We're going to serve our customers the way they want to be served. If they want contactless pickup and drop off, that's what they will have. If they want masks, that's what they will have. If they don't want masks, well, they don't have to wear a mask. This is all personal choice, but we're going to take the responsible positions and make sure that our customers feel comfortable and feel safe. What harm does it do for us to make our customers feel safe? Not much. Not much at all. So anyway, so when I say that business is good, or business was good throughout this, we hit the summer slowdown like always, and now we're seeing these behavior changes. As people are normalizing their lives and getting into their computers, we're curious what is going to happen during the next preventative maintenance checkup that we launch in August. Here in late August, we're going to have a special on that. Are people going to come in for the maintenance checkup, or are they going to say they don't have time? Are they going to buy a certificate and then never use it? Because a lot of people bought certificates for the last special, and a lot of people, every week I'm like, use your certificates, guys, we're slow. This is the time to do it. And every week we get maybe like 5. It's like nobody's using those certificates. Why is that? It's because they don't have time to use them, maybe? Or maybe they finally got to take a vacation. They finally went somewhere, Actually, I think year-over-year RV sales are like 30% up this year because people are taking their hotel rooms with them on vacation. Alrighty. We have 2 computers at home, but one of them is a work computer. Got it. So Jenny, that's the point. It's like they both need maintenance. They both need to be cleaned. They both need to be checked out. They both need to be tested. Everyone's going back to school. This is a great example. Everyone's going back to school, and everybody is going to have some kind of virtual option available to them if they don't want to go in person. Pretty much. So what happens when your kid's computer blows up and stops working because it had a bad hard drive and you didn't know it? What happens when that happens? You're going to rush out and buy a new computer? Have you tried to buy a new laptop recently? There's laptops to be had, especially at the $1,000 plus price point. The less expensive laptops, the cheap ones are gone. Like, you're not going to find a cheap one. And the mid-price ones are in very, very limited availability. Best Buy just clearanced all their gaming laptops. It's like they expect to get another shipment in, but unfortunately, I can tell them looking at what's happening, we don't know what's going to happen the holiday season this year for computers. If you're thinking about getting someone a computer for Christmas, it would not be a bad idea to buy it now. I'm just saying. We just don't know what's going to happen next. We're still selling through inventory that was produced before the pandemic. And it's getting harder to get, and harder to get, and harder to get, and more expensive every time. We picked a great time to print a bunch of catalogs with prices in them, didn't we? Alrighty. No problem, sound or audio. Good job. Alright. Computer gods messing with you today for sure. Yeah, they got to get their retribution in when they can. They sneak around when I'm distracted. Kevin, we the studio with Schrock Innovations doing the computer work in it is still it's still an offer on our end. Obviously, iHeart, the parent company that runs KFAB, is going through a lot of issues, and then COVID happened. But the big thing is that the studio itself, the room itself, needs a remodel, which means they need to gut everything out of the room. They need to pull the carpet. They need to pull the walls. They need to do everything and redo everything. And when they do that, then we were going to come in and redo the computer part. The contractor that they had lined up to do the internal in-house construction was going to trade it, and he backed out. And without someone to do the internal construction, they didn't see a huge need to do the computers when they weren't going to have a new studio to put the computers in. So I kind of hinted, I talked to a couple people and said, hey, you know what, we could still do the computers for you. And the attitude was kind of like, yeah, we don't really want to do a big video option and show off our dog of a studio. You know, we don't want to do that. We want to do something that shows off our 21st century cutting edge studio. And I've thought about doing some modifications of my own in here, just maybe down a drop down screen behind me that is a backdrop of some kind. Might be nice, but yeah, I've had more important things to work on with Des Moines coming off, so I kind of just said we're going to let some things fly until we get a little more time to work with them. The Hawaiian pool party. Love it. You thought I said kinky party? You thought my 13-year-old son wanted a kinky party? Mitch! Tiki party! Tiki party! Alrighty. There you go. So the lovely Kimberly has posted her Instagram address here, so she's going to post pictures of the tiki party. Not the kinky party, the tiki party, Mitch. So the lovely Kimberly will post her tiki pics on Instagram later this afternoon. You can check it out there if you want. Alrighty. Try to get a cell phone. Call my carrier, Boost Mobile. Yes, Leslie, I think I've talked to you like every single month about your phone. You need to just get off. You need to get off the X and buy a phone. You've been talking about doing this. You deserve a phone, Leslie. You've been talking about this for months. Buy the phone. All right, so you have the J7 perks. You want a 32. I'm the one who talks to you every time on Messenger. It's me you're talking to. And so I'm like, yes, Leslie, I remember you. Get your phone. So you were going to get a phone, but they're out of stock. So you're getting the Samsung Galaxy A11. You only have 16 gigs of RAM. So, you know, if the J7 perks is fine, you're going to love the A11. It's going to be a great phone for you. Now, for me, the A11 would be a terrible phone. It would be but I'm rocking the $1,000 flagship phone because half the day I'm working from my phone. I don't know how many, Kim, how much have I dictated to my phone over the last month? Like literally, my phone, my voice is so far into the Google servers that they could probably, when I'm dead, they can make an Android of me because of the amount I've dictated into that phone. Buy the phone, Leslie. Buy the phone. All right. Last call for questions, guys. I got to get rolling here because it's Jacob's actual birthday today, and we've got grandparents, everybody coming over today, so I got to make sure I get home and get everything staged up for that. So last call for questions. Just a quick reminder, the Des Moines Service Center soft open will be the week of the 17th. We don't know exactly what day, if it will be Monday the 17th or if it'll be like Thursday. We know our sign goes up on Friday, so the week of the 17th we're going to do our live or our soft open event. If you want to be part of that, you have to get an invitation, and invitations are easy to get until they're not. So make sure you call one of our service centers. Earlier I dropped the phone number for the Lincoln Service Center. It's 402-423-9595. That's 402-423-9595. 402-423-9595. There it is. You can call that number. You can leave a voicemail. We just need your name, first and last name, email address, postal address, and phone number. And we will add you to the system, and everybody with an Iowa address is going to get an invitation to the soft opening. Now, everybody who requests one. Obviously, the people listening to this radio show are going to be the ones that request the invites, or people who have done business with us before. You guys, you're going to be a small minority of the people who come in, because the amount of advertising that we are doing in Des Moines is awe-inspiring. If it was World War II, they would call it carpet bombing. If it was the Gulf War, they'd call it shock and awe, or schrock and awe. Oh yeah, I'm tired. But anyway, we have a lot of ads, a lot of ads going. And so basically those customers are not going to hear about the soft open. They're going to hear about the grand opening. So make sure you request your invite to the soft open, and then we'll keep giving them away until we're out. So make sure you do that. You can call any of the shops. You don't have to call Lincoln if you can't get through. You can call any of them. All right, sounds good. All right, I don't see any more questions. Leslie's going to get her phone. She's good to go there. And then you're going to enjoy it. You're going to like it. It's going to be a good phone for you. All right. So guys, I'm going to head on out of here. I want to thank you for watching us. Thank you for liking the show and sharing it and doing all the Best of Omaha voting. I really very much appreciate it. Of course, it was inconvenient that the Best of Lincoln is going to be launching just like a week before Best of Omaha closes. So it's too late for us to add it as an option. Like, vote for us in the Best of Lincoln competition for an extra entry. And it's too late in the Best of Omaha promotion. And it's so early that we would have to run 2 promotions simultaneously. That's going to be logistically difficult. So we're going to be starting one and ending the other. It's going to be fun. So anyway, if you would please take a moment to vote for us in the Best of Omaha competition. We very much appreciate it. If you go to SchrockInnovations.com, you can manage the voting process there by clicking on that black banner and doing all the extra steps to get entries to win. Basically, what we're asking you to do is give us honest reviews. We're asking. I don't understand. Somebody gave us a 3-star review and said we were awesome. And I don't know what a 5-star review looks like to that person, but wow. But it's like, you know what? They said we're awesome. That they're 3 stars. I'm not going to complain about it. So anyway, that you can vote for us there. Also, for those of you who use Yelp, it would be incredibly kind of you if you could write a Yelp review for us. Yelp is very difficult to achieve reviews from people who don't use Yelp a lot. Because people who are on Yelp more often, Yelp trusts their reviews to be legitimate, whereas if I asked all of you to go create a Yelp account today and all of you posted a review, we wouldn't see any of them publicly because you don't have enough credibility yet for your reviews to be considered legitimate. So if any of you do use Yelp or have used Yelp in the past to write reviews, if you could write us a great review on Yelp, it would mean a lot to me because it's a very difficult service to get reviewed on and get it made public. All right. Alrighty. I live in Iowa. You're a customer in my system. Will you get an invite? Alright, so let's double check here, Alan. I'm going to look you up here real quick. But I believe as a customer in the state of Iowa, you will get an invite. Alan. Got you there. Yep, you're in Boone, Iowa. You will get an invite. There you go. So that's how it works. We're going to do a database search for IA, and everyone gets an invite from Iowa. So Council Bluffs people will get an invite. Everyone will get an invite. Now, obviously, Council Bluffs people are probably going to come to one of our other service centers. But if you guys missed out on any, we're basically offering every sale we've had for the year so far at one time in the Des Moines Service Center. So that's like free maintenance checkups, solid state upgrades, what else? Discounts on computers. Basically the ultimate upgrade special, but across all the computers. I have no doubt we're going to have people from Iowa or maybe even Nebraska driving to Des Moines to drop the computer off because they missed out on those sales opportunities or the opportunity to get in on those sales when they happened locally. Or maybe they weren't in the right place to do it at that time. Feel free to come on out. We'd love to have you. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Alrighty, off to virtual church, Charles says. That's awesome. Alright, see, this is what I'm saying, guys. Everything is changing now. Virtual church. Really? It's like we're all shut-ins or something, right? Alright, have a great week, guys. Make the most of it. We'll see you all again here next weekend for another edition of Compute This.